is good? It's Monday. Week 12 is almost over. And depending on how Sunday went from you, you're either pissed or you're happy. If you're a Bucs fan like me, you're probably pissed. If you're a Seahawks fan, you're probably pissed. But if you're a fan of any other team, if you're a fan of the Bears, you're happy they lost. And if you're a fan of the Colts, you're happy they won. Just like my co-host. How you doing, bro?
I mean, you know, the tale of two hosts here. The Colts have a tiebreaker with the Texans, so the Colts are now in the 7th spot in the AFC playoff chase, bro. Like, this is unbelievable.
Wild. They're in the playoff hunt right now. If the playoffs were to end, we'll have that picture for tomorrow after tonight's game, which I don't really think will mess up anything, but we have to wait till week 12 is
NFC though, and we'll talk. I'll do an honorable mention in a moment. The NFC is getting a little more interested in the bottom right there.
It is, dude. I mean, hey, it's I said it earlier this season, like, who wants to win the AFC? But it's almost like, who wants to make the playoffs in the NFC?
Yeah.
We know who's already going to be there, you know, probably Lions, or maybe the Eagles, you know, the Cowboys, and the Niners. Yeah. You know, those are the four that are definitely going to go. But who's going to make it after that? Who's going to be the wild card spots? So that's what we're going to. And I didn't say the NFC South because we don't know who's going to be leading that, which we'll get into today. Obviously,
it's literally you got to win that division to get in. That's gonna be a fun race, though. Like, I know it's nerve-wracking for you, but I'm looking forward to just, you know, every game in NFC South.
Yeah, dude. You have to. As a football fan, if you're just watching, just, you know, from afar, like, all right, who's gonna scrap together and make the playoffs? And we talked about it in our chat earlier today, which I wasn't trying to take any shots at the Cowboys or anything like that. But of course, you know, everything I say is going to be taken that way. So I get it. But I get it. But like with the NFC and as a whole, it is such a hard conference, I think. Like, not that the AFC is not as more like difficult, but in recent years, the NFC has kind of been more competitive in my mind. Like, the Chiefs have just been the people to go.
Oh, I guess what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? It's like the NFC has been different every year. It was the Bucs, it was the Niners, it was the Eagles. So I think with the NFC, you do get this these weird divisions where they've just taken a lot of losses. Where if you look at where the NFC South, one, they all play each other like twice. So that's going to give you, you know, wins or losses. And if it's a battle every time, well, I guess it's going to go 1-1 every time. It really depends on who can win and who can sweep the other division like team. But then we're also playing the AFC South, which is just as nitty-gritty this season as such. And like we've only beat we have to play the Jaguars next. Great. I'm just thinking about that finally. Just thinking about that.
Feeling good.
Yeah. And we lost to the Texans, but thankfully we beat the Titans, but then we just lost to the Colts. So it's like, if you don't win those certain games, your losses are going to pile up. It's going to look like you're a very, very bad team, which for a Bucs fan right now, I'm not going to say that about this team. I don't think they're a very, very bad team, but you look at it, they have the same record as the Jets. Now, are you going to say that they're the same? No, I don't think they're comparable teams in my eyes. I think that they're very different teams, in fact. And it's just how it plays out with their schedules and everything. So, man, let's just get into it. Obviously, it's a big day, and it's a hard day for me to come here and be like, not just bitch about the game. That's how it goes, bro.
Well, as you know, though, that Bucs Colts game is on the list for today. So thanks for being a good sport.
Absolutely.
Going through with it.
Absolutely. Necron been feasting since Thursday. Absolutely, dude. You got fucking 41 points. I think the Cowboys scored the most points again. What's good, Israel? Real talk, sickness.
Yeah. Honorable mention real quick, because you probably noticed on the list too, Austin, that I only picked probably like one game from Thanksgiving that's really has like significant, or probably I think two probably. The one game I didn't pick was the Cowboys and Commanders. That really had no significance at all. Like, the Commanders are not vying for the playoffs, and the Cowboys kind of did what they're supposed to do. But since Necron's in the chat, just to give love to the Cowboys, that was an amazing performance. Very disrespectful eating turkey during the game. Very disrespectful. But as a rival, I do like Dak being, kind of coming out of his shell a little bit. I actually kind of like him, being disrespectful. So maybe that'll help him when he's actually gets into a fight in the alley with the 49ers. Like maybe he'll step up next time. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
What it is. That's what it is, bro. That's what gives you the edge when you're down like in the dumps or like in the trenches. What can you call on, dude? What do you have? What do you have in your bag? And if you don't have that aspect of your personality, then like you got nothing. I think Dak's kind of getting that from his head coach because Mike McCarthy's got that through and through. That grittiness, that dog in you. So hey,
it gets a little chip, and I like that. Right. I like that doing that. And one more honorable mention because this didn't make the list: the Dolphins and Jets game. Now I enjoyed watching. I like the Dolphins as a team. Their defense is coming together, Carlos. I agree, Mr. Transaction, but that game had no significance at all. We got to stop taking the Jets seriously after a Hail Mary pick six. You got to stop taking that team seriously. But the Dolphins did what they needed to do. And, we'll talk about the Bills in a moment. The Dolphins got that division sewn up. It's just about Dolphins, after you win your first round of playoffs, can you go on the road and beat one of the top teams? That's going to be the test for the Dolphins. But so honorable mention, but yeah, we'll have to break that game down at
all. So let's get into it then. The day that began the week for week 12, we were actually live when this game was going on, when it started. Necron, thank you for being there as well. And I don't think the Cowboys hate is beyond crazy either. We just praise them for a good couple of minutes. So the Packers, though, when we picked this game, dude, we picked all the favorites. I think we picked the Lions to win, we picked the Cowboys to win, and then we picked the 49ers to win. And the Packers, they said, no. Jordan Love said, oh, I got some dots. Let me throw it into a bucket. What'd you guys say about my accuracy? Okay. They looked like a completely different team. They did like week 4 or 5. So what was your reaction after we got off the air and you picked up this game?
Hey, I mean, I stay on brand. I'm an objectionable football watcher. And if you step up, I'm going to give you props, even if you're the hated Packers, right? As a lifelong Bears fan, nothing pains me more than praising the Packers in any kind of way, right? And I reveled in them losing all year, but they stumbled across a couple wins. And then, Thanksgiving morning, they go against the Detroit Lions, the division leading Detroit Lions, and expose them, right? Shout out to the Packers. Shout out to the Jordan Love stepping up. I'm not sure if you have the stats on this one, but there is love for Jordan Love in the Packers Nation now, and that the fact that basically they are not conceding the season. I was totally on board with them saying, hey, he's isn't the guy. Let's get a high draft pick or trade up or whatever. But Jordan Love is showing he can fit in his offense, first off, and Matt LaFleur is showing that he can cater to a quarterback, not Aaron Rodgers, right? So I'm going to give them credit where credit is due. Packers are now a game behind the final spot in the NFC playoffs. That's why this Vikings game tonight against the Bears is important. The Vikings have to win this game to hold off the Packers because they got to still play head-to-head again. So, like I said, props when it's due. Jordan Love, a very efficient day out there. Hey, like I said, I can't find a reason to hate the guy. The only thing I will say with the Packers, the Aaron Jones situation, he's your best offensive weapon. He's been banged up all year. That's why I traded him off my fantasy team. So that's one thing. But we'll see what happens. If they make a playoff run, he's going to be very important. Christian Watson, Dobbs, all these weapons, all these young guys that Aaron Rodgers was like yelling at last year. They're a year older. Now they got to learn this new quarterback, but Jordan Love's probably been getting reps with them. This is about the Packers. Even if they miss the playoffs, this is about them setting up for next year, get some free agents, and take that next step with this quarterback. The reports of Matt LaFleur's demise has been greatly exaggerated. He has an offensive system, and they always have a solid defense. So I'm gonna give the Packers a chance to make the playoffs, but it's going to be, I wouldn't say exciting because I'm a Bears fan, but next year it's going to be interesting to see how they turn out, with a full off season, a year under the belt of Jordan Love under this offense. So, hey, props to the Packers.
Props to the Packers. If you're a Packers fan, shout out to Bat Dan's thoughts. He is got to be looking at this and saying, "Yo, this is a great game to build off of." I mean, the playoffs aren't far out of their reach, I guess. I mean, I don't know if they're completely eliminated from the playoff race right now, but even if they don't make the playoffs,
they're a game behind.
They're a game behind. So if you even if you don't make the playoffs, you still, like you said, have a full off season, a confident Jordan Love at this point. It's not just like, oh, okay, what are you going to be? He doesn't even know either because he hasn't played in these NFL games. But now when you have that experience, especially as an adult player, and this is your job, you do it every Sunday, those reps mean something. And especially when you have the talent that he does, the arm strength that he does, the accuracy that we can see, the more he learns, the more stuff that becomes second nature with Matt LaFleur's offense. I think the more we'll start to see those explosive plays and even switch up off of that. Like the stuff that you see Aaron Rodgers doing, call audibles, call hot rods. Jordan Love will be doing those things and exploding for days like this. I mean, look at these wide receivers, dude. This is all the people who had a catch and yards on Sunday. He threw it around to everybody. The running backs, all the tight ends, this is crazy. So it's very encouraging for Packers Nation out there. If you're owner of the Packers, the only
potential's there. With Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs, Christian Watson. Again, these are all the young weapons, and now they can kind of grow up together. So, like I said, props to the Packers. Now the Lions, on the other hand. This shatters my whole number one NFC theory. They totally killed that whole prediction for me. So thanks a lot, Detroit. Why would I trust you? This isn't Jared Goff's fault. This is just this team is the Lions is a good team. They're likely to get one home playoff game, and they should be on upset alert that playoff game. The way they look, because you don't let my Bears push you to the brink, and then you let the Packers, pretty much. They controlled that whole game, really. And like I said, give props to Packers coaching with it as well, too. But with the Lions, they gotta run the ball to be successful. If they fall behind early, you gotta say, are we trusting Jared Goff and our defense to hold them off the entire time? And you're asking for a lot. Like you see right there, you fall behind 28 on the 20-8 in the first quarter. You're asking a lot of the Lions defense to hold off the Packers offense, right? And offensively, you really can't run about it much to get back in this game, and that'll work against you. So the Lions, all this is saying is this is not saying they're just terrible. They're still going to win their division, but they're not going to go as far as I thought they would.
Yeah, man. I mean, well, even you said they weren't going to win the first playoff game, or so maybe you said one and done, but now it's the first game you got to be on upset alert just because of how they're playing. I mean, sometimes you peak too soon in the season. Sometimes that happens. It's hard to sustain that. I will say the tight end was interviewed over the weekend. Hutchinson, I believe is his name, and he said, you just you don't ride the ebbs and flows. You kind of have to stay put, and that's the Lions mentality is. So 8-3. Hopefully, it's just a couple of tough losses. If anything, if any more losses happen, it's just a couple of tough losses, and they don't just stay at 8 wins to end the season. I don't think they will. I think they'll definitely get some more wins. But it's definitely something to take a look at because it's got to be concerning. Almost losing against the Bears and then losing against the Packers at home. Those are both 2 home games that happened, and you think that they would have the advantage on that, but. As you said, it was actually 23-6 at half. 23-6 at half. And the Green Bay Packers only scored 6 more points and they still won by a touchdown. So you gotta be able to start fast, and you can't let other teams start fast on you like that. Which they definitely did. I mean, after you get up 23-6, you're kind of just coasting from then out. It's try not to lose the game at that point.
But that's multiple weeks in a row. You know, that's a problem. They fell behind double digits multiple times against inferior teams. My Bears and the Packers are inferior teams rosters to the Lions. That's alarming. Do you remember, they got like curb stomped by the Ravens like a month ago, you know, and they've been having these games like the Seahawks beat them. So it's like, okay, they're just probably above average, and that's probably just where they're at.
I said to Money Train James, I was like, man, I'm worried about Jared Goff. If I were you, that's who I would be worried about. Like that's you kind of live and die by him. And he didn't have a terrible game, but still, it's like if your offense isn't passing well or moving the ball well, you can't start the game with 3 points and give up 20. That's just simple math. But moving on to the next Thursday game of note that you want to talk about was the 49ers versus the Seahawks, which I think I'm actually might have taken a hateful Seahawks pick on this one and tried to will that one into existence. But I mean, even at home, the 12th man wasn't enough, man. I mean, the 49ers kind of just strided out, and the Seahawks, they didn't have enough. They tried their best, it looked like, but it wasn't enough. And I feel like this is kind of like what the season is. The difference in these teams you can really see right now in this game, 31-13. So what did you see when you saw this game on Thursday?
You know, like you said, it's kind of clear, you know, what these teams are at this point. Like who's the top tier, who's really in contention. I think it's clear in the NFC. It's Eagles, 49ers, and the Cowboys are trying to make a case. And that's kind of the line is drawn right there for me. You know, so Seahawks, it's just like, you're kind of there again as this team that you may have a chance in your first playoff game, and then you're pretty much done. That Geno Smith and this offense, they're limited. This is a limited offense. They got to be able to run the ball, control the clock as well. The defense is not tough enough against, you know, Deebo Samuels and CMC and Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle, and it just. The 49ers, you know, they had that tough stretch when everybody was hurt. Now they look pretty healthy. So we're calling this game up because it was a key divisional game for the 49ers, just showing that, hey, you're not on our level, Seahawks. and this is really shaping up for a very important game next week, 49ers versus Eagles. We'll talk about that coming up this week. But this is just marking your territory. This is our division. Again, CMC gets his numbers, multiple touchdowns. Brock Purdy had a fluke interception. Somebody tipped it, but, you know, that counts. I guess it's an interception. But Deebo Samuel, again, productive. Ayuk had a sick catch, you know, to close the game late in the game. So it's like they're rocking on all cylinders. Seahawks, hey, it's going to be a fight. You got to kind of scrap. You'll likely make the playoffs. But then I guess you take that as a win for your season, Seahawks, that you're going to make the playoffs probably. But that's about it.
If they make the playoffs, I really don't know. I don't want to call any games yet because there is, you know, I guess 6 more weeks technically, because week 18 is when everything will wrap up for the NFL season. So I think it's going to come like it was last year. It's going to come down to the very last week in the season to see who makes the playoffs in the NFC. If anybody remembers last year, the Lions beat the Packers and kept them out of the playoffs last season at the very end. So who knows? We might be rooting for an underdog to keep one of the teams out of the playoffs. You never ever know. But yeah, Christian McCaffrey, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, only on 19 carries. Brock Purdy went 21 for 30, 209 yards, touchdown, interception. And like it's kind of comparable on the other side. Geno Smith, 18 for 27, 180 yards, but no touchdown, which goes a long way. And then you have without Kenneth Walker III. I mean, we all thought Charbonnet might be a good backup, but only 47 yards on 14 carries. And then they put in Smith and Jigba, who had 2 receptions for 41 yards. Like, I mean, that's not good. Where's DK? Where's DK, bro?
Right. This is the team with DK Metcalf and TJ Lockett.
Yeah.
And this is your top receiver. Like, that shows you how bad the offense was.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. So hopefully they rebound. Maybe they're playing them in a couple weeks, if I'm not mistaken. And it's like this is one of the only teams that play like this week. they have an off week, and then they play again. I think they might be playing in Santa Clara in a couple of weeks. So maybe that game will be wholesale different when they have people back and people healthy, but I don't know if it'll be too much difference. 31-13, maybe 31-20.
This was with the 12s, Austin. Like the 49ers went there against the 12s. Like it's kind of a wrap.
It's kind of a wrap. And I was in bed. I did not see the end of this game, dude. I was like, all right, it's over with. It's over with. But of course, one of these games that we wanted to talk about didn't load up for me. So let me get that up. But while I'm doing that, there was we have some NFC South things to talk about, but I want to talk about the AFC South first. And a big kind of, I guess for us, it was an upset, but for Vegas, it was a W. And the Jaguars got the win yesterday in Texas, in Houston, I guess. And for some reason, there was like the first time I didn't sell out the stadium. I don't know. That was a big storyline that I heard this morning. Like the stadium was empty in Houston. And the Jaguars went in and they got a W, but it was a close one. Obviously, CJ Stroud's no fluke. This is a division matchup, though, and I'm sure that you had your eyes on this kind of while you're watching the Colts game. So, what did you see from the Jaguars team going in on the road, getting this W versus a very hot Houston Texans team?
Hey, the Jags, they're a scrappy team. Like I kind of woke up to the Jags the last couple of weeks because I felt like they were missing something earlier this year. But the team around, and mostly it was about doubting the quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. And I still don't put him as some elite player. Like he's, he has all the measurables as a quarterback. He just doesn't make all the throws. I mean, I don't have to keep explaining this. Hall of Famer Kurt Warner has told me this, right? So, so the team around him, though, like Travis Etienne, awesome weapon on offense right there. Calvin Ridley, he realized 10, 11, 12 weeks into the season, hey, I got Calvin Ridley out here. Maybe I should throw to him more. And he's doing it now. So very smart, Trevor, for figuring that out. Took you 3 months.
But, zero. It's just like a target. It looks like a target for you, dude.
Christian Kirk makes, plays as well. So, I mean, they have all the weapons you want, and the defense is scrappy. Josh Allen, the defensive player, Josh Allen, is a beast. He still is a beast as well. And it's so funny. Quick thing, when the Jags play the Bills, like defender Josh Allen always sacks quarterback Josh Allen. This is crazy when that happens,
right?
But the Jags are a scrappy team. I'm gonna give them their props as being not elite, but obviously they're gonna win this division. This is a key win. They split the season series with the Texans. They both went on each other's field. CJ Stroud didn't turn the ball over. Crazy numbers, right? Like it's like he's willing his team into these games. I felt like for CJ Stroud, he had to win his division to really be a serious MVP candidate. Doesn't look like he's going to win this division. They're 2 losses behind the Jags now.
Yeah.
So it's more about he's rookie of the year, obviously, and the Texans, man, just their future is bright, man. Nico Collins, Tank Dell. Who are these kids? I don't know, but they catch the ball and they run fast. And again, CJ Stroud. What else can you say about that guy? Just keep giving him weapons. Keep working on the offensive line. And, I know they're going to show up the defense. They have former Texans linebacker as the coach, D'Amico Ryans, for the Texans. So they're going to make sure their defense is cool. Just keep protecting Stroud. But this game was more about the Jags. They solidified their lead in the AFC South. And now it's about jostling to see if they're going to be, 2-3 seed in the AFC and, make some noise. That's what the Jags are capable of doing as a team.
Yeah.
They're capable of doing that. Texans, it is still going to be they're right there. The Colts have a tiebreaker, actually. They have the same record as the Texans in the same division. But for the playoffs, so there's going to be a fight for the Texans. I'll put my money on CJ Stroud, though. I mean, he's going to have him in all these games, and so this was, obviously the Texans, it kind of ends this dream run. They were just like, taking out teams left and right, Stroud putting up crazy numbers. But now it's like, okay, you ran into a team that's like, hey, collectively, they're more talented than you collectively. And this is what you're going to face, trying to get into the playoffs. Teams that's maybe a little bit more talented than you, even though you have a phenom at quarterback. So Yeah, props to Jags, and we'll see it. We'll see if they can make some noise.
Well, hey, props to them. They're winning the games they should, that we thought they were going to win, early this season, but then they dropped some, in the middle part of the season. Those games, though, when I talked about other teams learning from their losses, it seems like the Jaguars did, and they came to play against the Texans. They know that, football really starts meaning something after Thanksgiving, and they won the first one. They won the first one. Texans are a young team, so they're not used to that yet. I will say, as far as the rookie thing goes, you're absolutely right. He probably wasn't going to win MVP unless they won a division this year, which now I don't see them doing as well. Probably win the rookie of the year. I don't know who else will get it from him, honestly, because he's definitely the greatest there. But with the rookies, all the young guys that they have in their team, there's going to be a part of the season where they're going to have to push through a brick wall that they've never seen before in their athletic life, which is playing past where the college season and the high school season ends. And that's called the end of the season for the NFL, where all the games really matter. So we're going to really see what the Texans are made of these last couple of weeks of the NFL, because like they all have young guys. I mean, there is some, you see Robert Woods right there, Devin Singletary. I mean, those aren't young guys by any means. So they have a coaching staff definitely that can coach them, but their bodies have never experienced it. So I'm eager to see what happens to those young guys, this time of the season. But definitely a good, as far as losses go, they didn't get blown out. They were in it to the very end, really, and they showed a lot of fight against an AFC playoffs bound team in the Jaguars. So shout out to the Texans in a loss. Not looking bad, not looking awful. I mean, look at that right there. CJ Stroud, 26 for 36, 304 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, you love to see it. And then 6 carries, 47 yards and a touchdown on his feet. So 3 touchdowns altogether, by himself, which is the 3 touchdowns they have as a team, all CJ Stroud. So shout out CJ Stroud. Yeah, crazy game. And let's get into the NFC South. The one that we were talking about earlier had me just screaming up and down where I was. I was like, come on, Bucks. Come on. But they couldn't get it done, man. Buccaneers got the L, hung on them, and they were driving down at the end of the game, and Baker just held on the ball for too long, and the Colts' savvy pass rush, who I did mention had 3 sacks per game, and was really good. I mentioned before the game, they came to play, and they got the strip sack at the game yesterday, at the end of the game. So how did you feel watching this as a Colts fan, and then seeing the Texans lose as well? Colts are in the playoff position right now, man.
Hey, man, it's crazy because, like I was saying before on the countdown show, that this would have been a game I probably would have went to if they still had Anthony Richardson. Like, I was planning on buying tickets this season. Once he got hurt, I was like, oh, I'm just going to save that money. You know what I mean? But this would have been a really cool game to be in the stadium. The roof was closed, but it's all good. But scrappy defense, man. Yeah. Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor really, again, solidify, like, hey, he's their best offensive weapon. And I'm just salivating to see what he's going to look like next year with Anthony Richardson, man. That's just going to be crazy. But this game right here with a scrappy Colts team, they're in every game. They kind of win one, lose one. That's kind of what the Colts have been doing. That's why they have a 6-5 record right now. Yeah. But they are in the 7th spot in the AFC, and it's going to be a dogfight. Them, the Texans, the Bills, everyone's going to be fighting, to get these spots. We think the Browns going to drop down, so that's another spot someone can fight for in the AFC as well too. So, just props to Minshew Magic. He scored that first touchdown, did a little shimmy for the camera. So shout out to Gardner Minshew. Michael Pittman, I believe, wants a stats spot, but I know he had 10 catches, I think over 100 yards. He is a true number 1 receiver. He's grown into it. I've seen him grow up into this number 1 receiver. So now it's just about getting more weapons around him. And again, you get that phenom quarterback, Richardson, back as well too. So this was big for the Colts side because, again, they are having a fight in the AFC. Now your Bucks. Now this, I said before this game, this was a must-win. Technically, it's kind of like it's playoff mode right now for every team that's in contention.
Yeah.
Though the Bucks lost, the best thing that happened for them was that the Falcons won. So that kept them, still in pace. Now they got beat these NFC South teams head to head. They still got another game with the Falcons. They got to win that game. That is a must win. I think they play the Saints again. You could let me know that. If not, it's about, it's like you lost this AFC South game, this out of division game. You got to take care of your division games to even have a chance going forward. And you may not even make it, even if you take care of it, at this point with 7 losses. So,
yeah,
it's a tough loss, but you're playing against a team that's trying to make the playoffs as well. Now, as far as Baker, I know a lot of people want to pick on Baker Mayfield. I think you keep him around 30 attempts or less a game. He's pretty solid. I have no complaints about Baker Mayfield. I mean, hey,
me either.
A big 260-pound edge rusher comes in and slaps you, you're going to drop the ball. Okay, that's just
he just had to get rid of it earlier. That's the only thing you could do right there.
You know what I mean? But I think it's kind of like you let me know. Is it like a running game by committee? I just see different names pop up sometimes as a Buccaneers running back. But
this is the first time that Rashad.
It's all white.
It's all white. It's all white. I mean, sometimes we'll have Chase Edmonds go in there every once in a while when Rashad White needs a spell, but it's usually all white. First time.
So
yard rusher all season.
Not a bad offensive plan at all. Like I said, this is the formula. Baker knows how to. This is how Baker Mayfield wins. You give him a solid offensive line blocking, which against a scrappy Colts team, they did the best they could. Give him a running game. You had that. You got this outside weapons, Mike Evans. I mean, it's like this guy. We know why they didn't pay him because they're going to kind of try to flip some things next year. This guy is still in this prime level. Like Mike Evans is a beast, man. So it's like it's about that offense. It's doing good enough. The problem is it's on the defensive side, Austin. That's the problem with the Bucks. When you gotta have it, when you gotta get off the field, who's stepping up for this team? Or like you said before the stream, are they being put in the right positions to get off the field at these times? And as a coaching staff, they got to figure this out because it's do or die. This is playoff mode right now. And I'm not sure the schedule. We'll probably look at that tomorrow. But any division remaining games are must win. Like it's just you can't lose qualms about it. Going forward. So great win for the Colts. Again, it's going to be a dog fight. No team is guaranteed to make it when you're down there in the 6-7 spot. The Bucks, man, it's man. I know they're trying, but man, this is this is must win. If last week was must win, it's now must win.
There's 6 games left. And it's a win out. Everything is a must win to give us the best chance to get to the playoffs. But you all outlined it perfectly. I got nothing bad to say against Baker Mayfield. You put any quarterback in that situation, they're not going to, if they don't have communication coming from the lineman saying something, they're not going to know that guy's there. I've seen some of the best quarterback awareness in the game, and it's just like there was no way that he had any idea that guy was going to be there to take the ball away. But before that, they're driving down the field. They're doing great. We can do without the one interception earlier in the game. That was probably the only bad play that Baker Mayfield really had. I mean, there was one shot that he didn't take earlier in the game to Mike Evans, but then you can see down there, he found Mike Evans plenty of times after that. I mean, 6 receptions, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns. Rashad White, his first game all season, having a 100-yard rushing day. And if the defense would have held up sooner, the offense would have never been put in a position to put Baker in that position where he had to throw the ball and drive it down under 2 minutes. If we should not be ending the game without have called a single timeout. Let me just say that for you guys. Todd Bowles did not call a single timeout late in the game. I don't know if you remember this, Syl, but Mike Evans caught a first down play and they called it an incompletion. You watch the replay, his hands underneath it, and any other head coach If you need a first down, well, let's throw the flag. Let's throw a red flag. Let's throw a chance flag.
Evans was bleeding too. Your receiver, your all-pro receiver was like, yo, my hands was under
receiver. It's coming to you. Oh, man, come on, throw the flag. And you say, nah, dude, nah. I don't want to call any timeouts this game. That's actually what I want to do. And then after that, on the very next series, you have a chance to get the football, the defense off the field, 4th and inches, and you do a cover 0 blitz on 4th and inches. This isn't Madden 2002. You don't fucking. This isn't Engage 8. All right, you don't call that.
In the house,
dude. Like this is 2023. Are you a head coach? Have I just watched more football than you have as a head coach? Because I know that's the dumbest fucking move. If I had the all 22, I would have been screaming because I didn't see that there wasn't a safety back. But then I see Gardner Minshew. He fakes the whole defense again. How is the guy with the biggest helmet on the field faking out the entire defense? How is that possible? Okay, and then they just dunk it over top like they have. How do you beat the Buccaneers? Just wait till they call a 0 blitz and then just audible over top. That's how Tom Brady and the Buccaneers got beat in the playoffs at home against the Rams when they're trying to go back to the Super Bowl. That's how they got beat the next year in a bunch of games, and Tom Brady limped them to the playoffs at 8-9. And then this year against the Texans, I saw it again where you just blow it deep over the top and nobody's there. What I see on that is just bad coaching. Bad coaching. The first defensive play in the playoffs against the Rams, Todd Bowles was the defensive coordinator. And then after that season, Bruce Arians steps up to the front office, and somehow Todd Bowles fails upward into the head coaching job. And Byron Leftwich protests all season and gives the Bucs the worst offense of all time out of pettiness. And now we're back here with a shit fucking defense, and we finally have a good offense. Oh my God. It's not a wholesale different offense. All we did was take Tom Brady out. Rashad White was there last year. He was our premier running back last year. Cade Otton was there last year. Caught touchdowns from Tom Brady last year. The only people that are new are Troy Palmer, and I think DeAndre Tompkins was even there last year. We're not throwing Chris Godwin the ball enough. That's the one thing I'll say about our offense. But besides that, our offense is great. Our defense fucking sucks. They have 0 situational awareness. The coach has 0 situational awareness. He didn't call a single timeout yesterday in a game that ended in a touchdown. Are you fucking kidding me? So yeah, fire Todd Bowles. That's my reaction on this game, dude. Shout out to the Colts and getting the W. I will say that. Good on Jonathan Taylor.
Situational.
That's all the coach, dude.
Situational football. That's like the difference in games for sure.
And Baker Mayfield said after the game, it isn't going to be until we all get pissed that things are going to change. And if we all don't get pissed, then things are going to stay the same. And I think he's looking at Todd Bowles, because all Todd Bowles does after is he should cosplay as Eeyore at a convention, because that's what he sounds. Well, gotta go again. Someone did a cut up there that said, hey, if practice was a Super Bowl, Todd Bowles would have 12 rings, because there's just 2 minutes long. Like, we had a really great week of practice. We had a really great week of practice. We had a really great. Did you have a great week of practice? Was it all fun and games? Did you work on fucking situational awareness at all? I think that's why you thought it was a great week of practice, because all the players thought you were, thanks for giving us the day off again, coach. Maybe we should practice some shit this week, huh? God damn. No wonder why Tom Brady wanted to retire, because this is what he saw from you. He had unfinished business last year, and you guys don't put in any business now. Baker Mayfield, I'm sorry that you came to this team and the head coach is operating the way he does, because I have more hope for this team coming into the season. Devin White has shit the bed. If you have a bad foot and you're not going to play well, then sit the fuck down. Because if you're going to get juked by Gardner Minshew, he runs as fast as I do. There's no way you should Gardner Minshew's juking you out. You won a Super Bowl and you're getting juked out by Gardner Minshew. This is how he looked. He was like, oh, God. That's not Mike Vick. That's Gardner Minshew. Yeah, this defense needs to fucking get rid of some people. Devin White, if you hold out again, I hope we release you like the Colts did Shaquille. They got rid of Shaquille Leonard. Maybe you put in waivers for him. Maybe you put in waivers for him.
Maybe you should sign him.
Maybe we sign him like anybody in the NFL would have fucking done. I hate Todd Bowles, dude. You're the worst fucking head coach of all time. All right, that's
with the Bucks.
Jeez.
With the Bucks, so yeah, the defense that would be what will hold them back because just the last couple of weeks it's kind of clear. It's kind of clear where the problem's at.
I'm sorry if anyone was pissed at me yelling, but God, I had to get that off. Like I was waiting. I was waiting to wake up to the reports. Like, oh, the Bucks signed Shaquille Leonard. The Bucks if the Patriots were playing anybody and they released anybody, they picked that guy up.
Yeah. I think he has a meeting with the Cowboys, Shaq Leonard, which because they lost a couple of linebackers. So I mean, hey, shit.
And guess who we didn't have? Guess who we didn't have this weekend either? Levante David. Would have been real nice to have Shaq Leonard out there instead. But hey, it's just I'm just a fan. What the fuck do I know, right? That's how I feel about that game. Thanks for letting me get that off. I'm gonna clip that. Angry Bucks fan. Jeez.
That's what's for to get it all out, man. If my team was semi good, I probably would understand how you feel.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, we're losing these games by a field goal or a touchdown. Like it's not by a lot.
Late touchdowns. I mean, like I said, the situational defense that comes down to coaching. You got guys who they have playoff experience. You know what I mean? So it's not the players. It's
Super Bowl winners.
It's coaching.
Yeah, dude. That's why I had to go off on Todd Bowles like that because he's still the head coach. He's still the head coach. But that game did file right into this game. Albeit the Bucks lost, I could take consolement in the fact that the Saints also lost. And now the Saints and the Falcons have the same record, and the Bucks somehow miraculously are one game out of first place at 4-7. Tell me how that works. But when you were peeping this game, it kind of looked like, hey, the Falcons are back. I mean, that's what it felt like to me when I was watching this. It looked like the Falcons of old, of earlier this season.
Hey, this was like a lemon pepper game. Like the Falcons was like, we did not lose the flavor, what I'm saying, for this home team. Arthur Smith, a lot of people, I know social media, it's wild takes and stuff like that, but Arthur Smith was never the problem of this team. They always had solid coaching, great offensive linemen, running game. It was always a quarterback play. Desmond Ridder was doing terrible a couple weeks ago. He gets pulled. Heineke goes in for a couple of games. He's just as bad or worse. So now with Arthur Smith, do you see what he's working with? Do you see what they want to trade for our guy, Justin Fields? So this is the thing. You got him on a pitch count again under 25 attempts as far as pass attempts. That's your formula because you have a terrible quarterback. Run the ball. Bijan Robinson. Oh, you forget you got Bijan Robinson, the potential offensive player, rookie offensive player of the year, but CJ Stroud's taking that. But Bijan Robinson is, he's wearing throwback number 7, Michael Vick's number in Atlanta. Come on now. The guy's a weapon. You still got Cordell Patterson. I know he's on a pitch count. He's getting a little older, but he's a weapon. They finally was using him. Drake London on offense. Kyle Pitts. You have weapons with the Falcons. It's the quarterback, right? And that's what's going to ultimately be why they probably missed the playoffs. He's going to mess up when he, really, really, really shouldn't because his division's too close for that, right? But another thing with the Falcons, they have a great D-line as well. They got the big guys. They're great. The offensive skill weapons, great. The quarterback's going to hold him back. But this game at home, lemon pepper, right? So with the Saints, man, Derek Carr, bro, it's only because Jameis Winston is your backup Derek Carr is why you're still starting, right? Because Jameis Wilson, he would get you a touchdown, then he'll throw them a touchdown. That's what Winston does, 30 for 30. Jameis Wilson. with this Alvin Kamara, how many receiving yards did Alvin Kamara get? Because Kamara, he's supposed to be your number one weapon. I know he was suspended for a couple of games this year. Was he really in shape when he came back? So he had over 100 yards all purpose. Feed him. Chris Olave, feed him. But Derek Carr, his efficiency was off. Though he was getting the ball to these weapons, it took him 2 or 3 attempts to get them the ball. So, I mean, I'm just saying Derek Carr is the epitome of average quarterback in the league. And he was yelling at the kids a couple of weeks ago as well, too. So it's like Derek Carr is in this little point of regression. This is probably his last stop in his career as a starter, at least.
Okay.
It's just not enough. It's just not enough what Derek Carr is doing. And you're going against, again, Desmond Ridder. He's a guy, we know he's average or even below average. But, you know, they're not trying to put him in situations where he has to, you know, be more. You're asking Derek Carr to throw the ball 40 times a game, basically.
Yeah.
That's not a winning formula anymore. It doesn't work. It probably worked with the Raiders like 5 years ago. And he had who do you have over there? It was a top receiver over there. Oh, he had Antonio Brown one year, but it was someone else over there. But anyway, the whole point. This formula is not working for the Saints. Yeah,
no, I don't think
this formula is not
ever worked. I don't know if that formula ever worked, throwing it 40 times for Derek Carr, dude. I don't know if he's ever been successful like that. But yeah, even on the other side, you get Desmond Ridder throwing for half the amount of time, having half the amount of yards, but having way more touchdowns than you.
Well, he was still more efficient. He was
exactly.
Ridder was still more efficient, and they were using the running game to his advantage. With Carr, again, this goes on coaching. Like, why is this your game plan for Carr to throw the ball 40 times? Facts. You weren't like trailing by 2 touchdowns the whole game, right? So that's more on coaching than anything.
Yeah, and I guess it's a Sean Payton list Saints, but as you said, a mediocre quarterback's going to kind of come to these games where they should have won this game, and then the Saints put themselves, in trajectory of being that team, but they didn't. In years past, we've seen this kind of Drew Brees spell be over this NFC South, but Drew Brees is gone. I mean, Tom Brady is gone, so it is kind of anybody's division to step up, but it's like, who's going to be the quarterback of this division? Doesn't look like it's going to be Derek Carr, and it definitely isn't Desmond Ridder. I mean, for sure not. No. I think it's in the Falcons' best interest to skid out of this season and pick up the best quarterback that they can in the draft. How many times are they going to do that? I think, like you said, get Justin Fields through, the connections of the coaching staff and all that. That's probably the best. Have a running attack like Justin Fields with the running attack of everybody else on this team. Yeah, I mean, behind that offensive line, it'd be ridiculous to see. And the Saints, I mean, yeah.
But with the NFC South, the funny thing is that all this, seeing the mediocrity of these teams and seeing that the Bucs just defensively, they're not there, right? So next year, you should be thinking as a Panthers organization, like, oh, we're not that far off. But then they fire their coach. The Panthers fire their coach. So I'm just like, this whole division is shit, man.
For real, dude, it's in shambles, dude. I mean, the Panthers, they thought it was a smart idea to pick up a losing season head coach at the Colts. I mean, they fired mid-season last year, right? I don't think they fired him. It was mid-season. They pick him up, and then the year after that, like, he's gonna be good here, though. He's gonna be good here. Nah, dude. It was that 1-9 they are now, or is it 1-10? 1-10, I think.
Yeah, 1-10, I think. Yeah.
They definitely have the first pick in the draft, which is good for you. And hey, shout out to the Falcons making this a game. For whatever reason, this is just going to be something we have to watch. Keep our eyes on the NFC South because somebody's going to go to the playoffs.
Someone has to win it.
Yeah, dude. Somebody's got to win.
But 8-9 will do it, though. 8-9, I think, is the record that you're going to need to win this division. And, and hopefully you have the tiebreakers and make the playoffs.
Right. Hopefully it's the Bucs. We got the Browns, Broncos. This game, I guess, I don't know if it went not the way we called it, but it was just like surprising that it was by this much. Now, Myles Garrett got hurt. You're kind of worried about that if you're a Browns fan. He's in the sling on the sideline. You saw him Heard a pop in his shoulder, I guess. Got to get that checked out. DTR, I don't know if he's a guy yet, but again, you went up against a very hard Broncos team that basically shut out the Kansas City Chiefs. So they scored more points than the Kansas City Chiefs did against them. I guess you can look at it that way. But the Broncos, as of right now, have the longest winning streak right now with 5 weeks in a row with this win at home. So what were your reactions to this game when you saw it in the afternoon yesterday?
All right, Sean Payton, coach of the year, basically, is what I'm thinking with that. To turn his roster around, just defensively, how they look. This is the same team that gave up 70 to the Dolphins earlier this season, right? So this Broncos team, somehow he galvanized them. He's squeezing out the last bit, the last drops out of Russell Wilson as possible. They're playing a smart, again, it's about the formula. Don't throw it too many times. Control the clock. Have some kind of semblance of a running game. Take your shots, though. Cortland Sutton, he's not like a elite receiver, but he's a solid number one. Probably more like a number two.
Well,
you're talking about Jordan Judy.
Jordan
Judy, it's still
Judy.
He's still a Jag. Yeah, Steven Smith was senior was right about him.
My bad, son. My bad, Cortland.
But hey, the Broncos, they may actually end up sneaking into the playoffs to where they're playing, and they're beating quality teams. They beat the Chiefs. They're only 2 losses behind the Chiefs. Winning the first game against them, are they going to be like, hey, can we sneak up on this division now? Probably not. Like, hold our horses there. I think the Chiefs still will win a division because the Chiefs' defense is so legit. Like, you still got Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback, so they'll be okay. But as far as with the Broncos, man, being 6-5, that's crazy. Like 2 months ago, they played my Bears, and it was like a mid-off game, and I was like, it don't matter. Both these teams are terrible, and all they did was win every game since then.
I think take a moment to let this sink in. This is the same team that got scored 70 points on this season. That's the Broncos. The Dolphins scored 70 points on them. And ever since then, they just came back. They could have folded as an organization after that. You know what I'm saying? Call it quits for the rest of the season, but they didn't. And that's a testament to the coach of the year, probably Sean Payton, getting this win. And the Browns, it's looking like for them, it's like just too many injuries, man. They've come to a point in the season where it's just like just too many injuries. They don't have enough guys on the roster. I mean, nobody does. If everyone just keeps going out, I mean, what are you going to do? You're down to your third string quarterback that never should have wanted to play this year, and you want to just have him learn under Deshaun Watson. But it kind of stinks for the Browns. They're probably going to be off our power rankings pretty soon.
Yeah. Oh, no. I mean, I was anticipating them dropping off, when Deshaun, after their biggest win of the year, going against a tough Ravens team, beating them. I was like, the Browns, they're in the top 10 for a reason, but too many injuries. I mean, losing Nick Chubb early, all pro running back. Deshaun Watson was finally getting back into form. He's out. It's too much. The Browns, I'm sure most teams are looking at the Browns going to fall right out of the playoff race, unfortunately. But that opens up the doors for like the Texans, Colts, and Bills even still, to get that spot.
Right. And if you look at these quarterbacks, they didn't really have different numbers. I mean, Dorian DTR completed one more pass, threw more balls, but they both had 134 yards and a touchdown, which is kind of funny. But the Broncos just did more and converted more. Obviously, the Broncos running game is scoring some points for them. And let's take a look. 3-yard run, 2-yard run. Yeah. Field goal.
Yeah,
exactly. Run, 8-yard pass, 2-yard pass. So a lot of run. Oh, and a team safety. Nice. Gotta love that.
Russell Wilson against that formula, throwing the ball 25 times or less, and he was more efficient than DTR. And DTR did take that shot in the head. Hopefully he's okay. The concussion protocol. But we knew 2 weeks ago, DTR, he wasn't ready to be a starter. They didn't want to put PJ Walker back out there. But now it's, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
They got Joe Flacco, man. Who knows? Who knows?
Flacco, man, will Flacco save the day is the question. If he has anything left, They still have weapons. I mean, again, you got Kareem Hunt, you got Ford, who's a solid running back. You still got Amari Cooper. Now they traded away Peoples-Jones, but because they got Elijah Moore. He's actually pretty solid on the other side. So I see why they unloaded Peoples-Jones. So and Joku at tight end. So they have the weapons, but it always comes if you don't got the quarterback, man, you're not gonna do nothing. And Flacco,
Super Bowl winning quarterback Joe Flacco coming in, dude. Maybe
it'll be a nice story. It'll be a nice story.
It'll be nice. Hopefully, Myles Garrett can get healthy real soon. Hopefully, he's all good. But one of the premier games, if not probably one of the best games we'll see all season, overtime W. And this was actually in the 4:00 slot, 4:25 slot. Ended up going late into the evening. Another rainy game for the Eagles at home against the Bills. And the Bills didn't show up like they've showed up against, a lot of times against these better teams. They came to play. They actually looked the best they had looked all season yesterday, the Bills. But the tale as old as time is Josh Allen losing an OT. He's had 6 overtime games in his career, and he's lost every single one of them, unfortunately. It's just the way it goes.
I hate that stat, right? I hate that stat because it's like, what does he have to play defense too in overtime? Like, what does he have to do? Like, no, you 0-6, bro. You ain't telling me. I hate that. But this is what I would say though. I walk away from this game probably a little more different than most people. The Bills, they showed how good they can be. They literally can be. Now, situational, that still falls on coaching. Yeah, that's going to keep them from winning the Super Bowl. But I think, 99% of the time, that's a game that you win if you're the Bills. Like, just the work you put in that game, right? It just was insane how they lost it. Josh Allen is still elite talent. It's just, again, situational. Yep. Bills at 6-6. They're right outside the playoffs looking in. But, again, we're talking about teams like the Browns may drop down. Who knows about what the Steelers are going to really do for real with Kenny Pickett. So the Bills are not out of it yet. And how they played on the field, they show they still have a lot of fight left. So I think it's going to have a weird effect where everyone's like, oh, what I'm saying, the Bills bury them. It's like, nah, I mean, they probably can run off and win the rest of their games for the season. I think that's what the Bills could actually do. Yeah. Now, as far as with the Eagles, everyone's praising the Eagles now. Jalen Hurts, the MVP and everything like that. The Eagles still, though they keep finding ways to win the game, they look vulnerable every single game. Like, I need one dominant performance. Like the 49ers does it every other week. They smash the Jags, then they kind of have a close game, then they smash the Seahawks. Like, I need you to smash people. Even the Cowboys are blowing out people. The Eagles, I'm not saying you got to blow out because that's how the Ravens play too. They don't blow out everyone. Yeah. But Eagles, put your foot on someone's neck. Now, the Cowboys should have beat the Eagles this past month. The Chiefs, if they had someone that could catch, would have beat the Eagles last week. So it's like, I know the Eagles have the best record, and just by default, they got to be at the top of my power ranking because you keep winning. Right. But I could see them having a mini. I'm not saying like a 3-game losing streak, but I can see the Cowboys beating them next game. I could see the 49ers beating them next week. So the Eagles, it's just, this can deceive a lot of people seeing this game. Josh Allen, crazy numbers as far as what he put up today, leading the team in rushing, and he's the quarterback. Though Gabe Davis led in receiving, he was feeding Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs was happy in that game. Flip side with the Eagles, they made the plays when you had to make it. At the end of the day, you got more points when it's all said and done. They did. Congratulations, but you're right for getting picked off. I'm not annoying the Eagles, crowning them like people are wanting to right now. I have not seen enough yet. But like I said, with the Bills, it's still a fighting chance. And if they make it to the playoffs, you don't want to see Josh Allen in the playoffs. No one wants to happily walk into that matchup. So the Bills, I'm going to really watch how they do the rest of this year, but I think they're really going to actually make a run now.
And they have to. Hopefully it was just Ken Dorsey holding that team back, or they got whatever bad mojo out of that building. But I think Gabe Davis is going to be like that leading wideout, and then Stephon Diggs is going to be the explosive. But I mean, Gabe Davis is just a bigger target for Josh Allen to hit. So that's why he's going to have more balls than you. I mean, as soon as Stephon Diggs realized that he's probably the smallest guy on the field at all times, then maybe he can take, his position on the stat chart, and not be such a problem for the rest of his team. You are a great player, but you're like Deion Branch, dude. You just got to play your role and you'll go ahead and win all the Super Bowls. But if you don't, you're going to get kicked off the team, dude, because nobody wants to hear someone who doesn't produce and won't produce just because of how much attention is on you, how much attention you bring to yourself. I mean, this is all on you, Stephon Diggs. So, as it is nice to see him getting fed, I still think that it shouldn't have to be that way. He should just find himself open and then get the ball. But that's just the old school football guy in me. But I will say on the other side, you're looking at the Eagles. They did look very susceptible to a loss, but they're playing against a very equally good team. So to back up what you said, though, I think their only loss this season is against the Commanders. So if they don't come to play on these games, they can get caught sleeping. They might have had the luck.
The Jets beat the Eagles. Yeah.
Jets beat the Eagles? The Jets beat the Eagles? Mm-hmm. Exactly. Basically the Commanders. Basically. And you got to be worried about that. But if you're an Eagles fan, you got to love this out of your team. Getting another OT win, winning when they have to, coming up with the plays, luckily, while they have to. But I will say, you don't want to see all of the luck get used up now, because come playoff time, that catch that MVS almost had, he's going to catch that in the playoffs. Like, all that luck will get washed out, and you'll see the Eagles fans take some hardy losses. So I will say, good for them. They'll be back on the power rankings, back at the top of the power rankings. But as far as the Bills go, I think they are a playoff bound team, that the way that they're playing, they just have to win the majority of their games going forward, because the Dolphins, they won the division, I believe. The Dolphins are running away with that division.
Yeah.
The Bills have to try to make it in as a wild card spot with injuries all across the AFC. They have the opportunity to do so, man.
Yeah. I mean, the Bills, they're 3 losses behind the Dolphins in that division. It's a wrap. They could sweep the Dolphins in the division and still not even make the playoffs. The Bills. So it's they're that far behind. So the Dolphins got that sewn up. The Dolphins are trying to jostle with the Jags and those teams up there now. The Bills, it's going to be a dogfight. I mean, you dig this hole, but I walked away encouraged from that game. I was like, the Bills, situational, still not good, but they can go blow to blow with anyone if they bring their A game. And they brought their A game. It's just, you ran to a complete team. Now, are they going to face complete teams going forward? The Bills are going to win a lot of these games, I feel, closing out the season.
Yeah, they got a lot of easy games coming up. Obviously, if you have the Jets and the Patriots on your schedule, you mark those as W's.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'll look forward to seeing the Bills and what they can be come the playoff time, especially with all the veterans that they have on that team. I just want to see them go forward and not be the heartbreak Bills like they have been for so long for that franchise, because I know a lot of Bills fans and they're all around the country, man. They're underdogs. They're everywhere, and they definitely deserve, some kind of championship. If not the Super Bowl championship, maybe an AFC championship, because they used to win those back in the day and then just lose Super Bowls, but now they can't even get there anymore. So, hey, shout out to the Bills. You're looking good, but you got to get some W's to get into the playoffs. And the last game we got to talk about real quick, it ended up being a sleeper, man. Chargers just wanted to keep throwing the ball away, giving the ball up. And here you go, Ravens. Here you go, Ravens. There you go, Ravens. Ravens with this victory, they're number 1 in the AFC. That is the big standpoint for me. They went in on the road in a primetime game, and they showed out, and they never slowed up, man. I don't think the Chargers had a chance this whole game when I was watching it. It really didn't feel like a game at all. It felt like the Ravens were just there, and we were watching a spring a spring ball game, between like varsity and JV. It's kind of what it felt like watching this game. But what were your takes after watching the Ravens and Chargers?
Oh, we've been talking about formulas a lot, and it's like the Ravens, yeah, they're not going to blow you out every game, like, unless they play the Lions or somebody like that, but it's like, Ravens, they have this formula where it's like efficient offense, Lamar just, you're going to make the right reads. If it's not there, that's okay. Throw it away, scramble for a couple yards, and live to fight another down because we trust our defense. And like you said, it's so funny. The game was 13-10 in the fourth quarter. A couple minutes ago, the Chargers had the ball at midfield. And I don't think no Ravens, and it was on the road. Ravens on the road. I don't think no Ravens player was nervous at all. It's like, Herbert is not going to drive down the field on us. I don't care. And of course, Herbert didn't make it down the field. Then, Zay Flowers puts it away as their new, speedy weapon over there for the Ravens. So Keaton Mitchell, backup running back. They got a running backs by committee. You still got Gus Edwards, like more of a goal line guy. And you got Keaton Mitchell. Isaiah Likely is the backup tight end. Mark Andrews is on the injury reserve, but he'll probably be back for the playoffs. So they're playing a long game. As far as with the Ravens, they got the best defense in the league, but they're not worried. They're just saying, Lamar, we know you're not going to lose the game for us. Just we're going to make sure we're dialing up good throws. OBJ got some juice in the game. They got Bateman. They got weapons. It's just about Lamar. I don't want to say manage the game because he's better than that, but it's like Lamar, just hit the throws. If it's not there, take the down. Hey, we'll punt it. We don't care because our defense is better than everybody else. You know what I mean? That's how they're playing, man. This is a scary team because they'll just beat you up. Like, that's how they win. Like, we're just tougher than you. You know what I mean? And that's sort of how the Eagles play as well. So it'll be very interesting if, like, this is the Super Bowl. Eagles and Ravens will be birds, right?
Battle of birds.
It's like, bro, it's like, who's going to budge, in that game? So the Ravens have the ultimate formula to be like a Chiefs team, a Jags team. That's why the Ravens are number one in the AFC. And it's just about proving it for the playoffs. Take care of your division. I think they're going to get the top seed. And it's just about, hey, who comes to your house, and who's going to take it from you. So Ravens did what they're supposed to do. Chargers, they're done. I mean, like I was saying, like with the Bills, they had a chance. The Bills has a chance to fight for the playoffs. The Chargers, no.
Nah.
It's a wrap. I'm pretty sure they want to probably blame the coach, but it's more than just a coach, bro. Like, okay, like I said, when it came in the fourth quarter, 13-10, you're down by 3, about 4 or 5 minutes left to go at midfield. Chargers, you have the ball. Do you believe in Justin Herbert? No, they don't believe in Justin. I don't believe in Justin Herbert. Maybe they think they do. And I'm not saying like, oh, Justin Herbert's just terrible and bad. It's like, no, it's coaching. Don't put the ball in Herbert's hands this many times. How many times did he throw it? Did he throw like 40 times?
44.
He probably like 30 plus. 40. He is not. This dude is not Joe Montana or something. Like, what are y'all doing? Herbert, you want to anoint these quarterbacks. It's like, bro, why are you throwing the ball 40 times? You have Austin Eckler. Why? Like, what is going on with the offensive plan right here, right? And so you throw that many times and you got 10 points. So something's off. Something's off here. As far as what's going on, the Ravens will slow walk you to death. That's how they play. So yeah, Chargers, your season is over. You may beat like some middling team or something like that, but no, it's a wrap. It may be a wholesale change over there. Who knows? But this is more about the Ravens solidifying the top of the AFC. And this is how they're going to beat most of the teams, even in the playoffs. And then you just really got to blow the top off their defense to even have a chance, to win against them.
And I'm watching this game. It felt more like, like you said, they punt it because they could, and they didn't have to score that many points. They didn't. Whatever, dude. We don't have to score any points today. Like, you already scored enough. And when it was 13 to what, 10? Was it 13-10 or 13? What did you say it was? 13-3.
Fourth quarter. Yeah, 13-10 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think I remember like punching in at that. But when they stopped Justin Herbert and they got the ball back and got the touchdown, they're like, yeah, we're good. We got the definitely solidified the game for them then. And when I wanted to just punch down here real quick. When you see this team also is 4-7. All right, the Bucks are 4-7. That's how much different each team can be with the same record. Like Justin Herbert is leading the rushing with 4 carries and 47 yards. That's the lead rusher. Whereas on the Bucs side of things, we had a 15 carry, 100-yard rusher in Rachaad White, and then 2 touchdowns for Mike Evans and over 70 yards. Like not 1 touchdown, 1 interception that Justin Herbert had. Baker Mayfield actually had 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and had a way better completion versus attempt. So it is a lot different, and it's funny to say. I mean, you look at the numbers. Baker Mayfield's playing better than Justin Herbert this year, and I think a lot to do with that is in coaching, and that's what happens when you pick up. I don't know why they keep doing this. Why do you pick up a coach that was just fired? Kellen Moore was fired from the Cowboys. Let's pick him up for our offensive coordinator job. Like, what are we doing, Chargers? What are we doing?
I think it's very indicative that because this is why the Browns at full strength beat the Ravens, because they weren't afraid to run against their line. Like the Chargers are literally, they were afraid to run. If you have less than 20 called run plays, I don't count Herbert scrambles. Those aren't called runs.
No.
But Eckler only gets 10 touches out of the backfield. And he had a couple receiving catches, but what you're telling the Ravens, we're afraid to bump into you. We're afraid to ram into you. We want to finesse around you. It's like, no, you're not going to beat the Ravens. You're going to have to beat them up. And there's only a few teams that's equipped to even hang with them. And, we saw Browns at full strength, the Steelers, that type of team. You got to get rough with the Ravens. The Chiefs can do it now with their defense. They can fight against the Ravens.
Yeah.
Jags could probably be scrappy, but Ravens versus Dolphins, the Dolphins will get just spanked. Because they're not trying to be physical like this, you know what I'm saying?
They almost lost the Raiders.
I'm just saying, man, that's what it takes, to beat this Ravens team. And there's only probably like 2 teams that can even beat them this year.
It'll be interesting to see how the rest of their season plays out as far as schedule, but where they end up. Because right now they're leading the AFC. They're number 1 in the AFC. Definitely Kansas City Chiefs is going to be fighting with them for that. And with right now how the playoffs are set up, only 1 team gets a bye. So that number 1 seed spot is very valuable to get you guys some rest in the playoffs. But we'll see how that shakes out. And that was last night's game. And tonight's game is going on right now, actually. Let me take a look at that for everybody. I'll go back to the scores. It's probably – it didn't start yet? Okay. Quarter 1, it's 0-0. We got 5 minutes left in the first quarter.
Didn't miss much.
Yeah, didn't miss much, but we do expect the Vikings to get this W today. I think just to reiterate our picks, I think we both picked the Vikings, but the Bears should keep it close. I think that's what we said.
Yeah. I think, and I was hoping for at least some kind of offensive, match here. But the Vikings, they don't have the most explosive offense. I know we love Joshua Dobbs, but he's still using a limited playbook. So
yeah,
the Vikings better get going because we see with the Bears, we saw what happened to the Lions and other teams. The Bears offense can get hot, and you're like, oh man, it's a shootout for no reason. So the Vikings better wake up.
I know, right? Yeah, you don't want to sleep on Justin Fields, man. He'll get you. We're looking at 3rd and 9 right now at midfield. This is interesting to see. Hey, they're at home. You better go ahead and give your fans a nice home win because the Vikings, if you slip any farther this season, you're going to miss out on your chance in the playoffs because the Packers are coming for that spot, man. But hey, this would be interesting to see. Yeah, this is the NFC North matchup, right?
That's right.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. So it's got to be an interesting night to see how these teams play each other. It's always a close game when the NFC North plays each other. It was just the Bears almost just beat the Lions. And then the Packers beat the Lions. So are the Bears going to upset the Vikings? We'll see. We'll see, bro. I don't think so, but we'll see. We'll be back tomorrow. Power rankings are tomorrow. Obviously, everyone wants to see those. It's going to be interesting to see where your team fell on the list. And emphasis on fell. So do you have any thoughts, any parting words for the chat before we get out of here, homie?
Now, definitely, again, this sports coverage, we're only ramping up as the season goes along. I'm going to on the Syl Nation Sports Network channel this week. I'm going to start debuting my my commentary that I'm going to do on several of these teams. Looking towards the end of the season on select teams, just definitely keep those notifications on. I'm excited to really, do it our style. You know what I mean? It's like we really did something really organic here, man. So we are going to keep that going on the Syl Nation Sports Network.
Hell yeah, dude. Be on the lookout. If you don't have your notifications on for Syl Nation Sports Network, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? We got Mini Monday recap. You just watched it. Shout out to the replay crew if you're on the replay. Power Rankings Tuesdays. Then we have the Thursday countdown. And then we have the good countdown. And, of course, our prediction videos are in there. And now we're going to have prolonged discussions on these teams and what's important for each team. And I'm sure Syl's going to have a very interesting insight as to what he thinks about all these teams. And everybody wants to know what Syl thinks, because you know that my opinion is probably going to piss you off. But that's just how it goes. That's just how it goes. That's why we work out the way we do.
I have an unbiased approach for sure.
Yes. And I put my bias on full display, bro. I put my bias on full display. But thank you for being here again for another show, homie. And I'll see you tomorrow. Chat, we'll see you tomorrow for Power Rankings. And make sure you like and subscribe and share the stream out so we can get more people here reacting to everything that we do. And good luck to the Bears. Hopefully you get an upset. And shout out to Joshua Dobbs. Go get you a W, bro. Till next time, everybody. Peace.